ॐ शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजाननपद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. लोकवीर्यं महापूज्यं सर्वरक्षाकरं विभुं पार्वतीहृदयानन्दं शास्तारं प्रणमाम्यहं। स्वामिये शरणमय्यप्पा। वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्रीपार्वतीपरमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरनभ्यर्थितानपि आर्तान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुवमभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചനാനിന്നോടായി ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞാനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ടാത്തോരു രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കനായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Good morning, everyone. All right, so we'll start with 85 today. Give me one sec.
I think we need to do 84.
Oh, sorry, 84, 84. Yes, yes, sorry. 84 and 85 today. Give me one sec. On my iPad today, so one second. Okay. All right. We'll have Lalita Murli, you can be a student, and Padmaja Meikundam, you can be a student. Okay, so 84. Book, sorry. Yeah. 84 is Samanta Panchaka Yatra. Samanta Panchakakyam, that's another name for it. But it's a place where they go to Samanta Panchaka place. Okay, stanza 1. क्वचिदततपनोपरागकाले पुरिनिदधत्कृतवर्मकामसूनु यदुकुलमहिलावृतः सुतीर्थं समुपगतोऽसि समन्तपञ्चकाख्यम्. So till last time, we kind of saw all this Narakasura Vada, all of that was happening, right? We saw all of that. And then the battle that happened with Bhana, that was the other one in the previous class. So now Krishna and Balarama, while they are in Dwaraka, at one point, right? It's a relative, like I said, Mahabharata, everything gets combined at this point. So before the time when Yudhishthira performs a Rajasuya Yajna, which is going to come a little later. So at that time, there was a big solar eclipse was coming. So solar eclipses in general, one end it is associated with potential omen, but it's also a very good time for fasting and for performing all worships. So they all decided to go to this place called Samanta Panchaka, which is actually the modern day Kurukshetra, which is at the time Kurukshetra also, which is like a sacred area for all of the Kurus. And this was also the place, if you remember from Dasakam 36, when Parashurama, after he got rid of all of the Kshatriyas, he went to Samanta Panchaka. And then he actually atoned for all of the getting rid of the Kshatriyas. That's where he gave up everything. So that place is considered very auspicious place. There's also a water body. And the Saraswati used to flow through that at that point, no longer. So it is considered a very auspicious place. So at that time, everybody decided to go there. By everybody, it means the Yadavas, the Kauravas are going to come, the Pandavas are going to come, the Vraja people are going to come, Nanda Gopan, everyone. And everybody ends up coming there. And then you put your Krishna, then Krishna's grandson Aniruddha was guarding the Dwaraka city when everybody came there. So, Kvachi Datar Tapa Noparaga Kale, Puri Nidadhat Kritavarma Kama Sunu Longu Yadukula Mahila Vritas Sutir. If you have Vritaha, it becomes a is there. Vritas Sutirtam, Samupagatosi Samanta Panchakakyam. So along with the Mahila means along with the women. So everybody ended up going there. Kvachidata tapano paraga kale purinidadhat kritavarma kamasunu yadukula mahila vrtassutirtham samupagatosi samanta panchakakyam.
क्वचिदततपनोपरागकाले पुरिनिदधत्कृतवर्मकामसूनो यदुकुलमहिलावृतः सुतीर्थं समुपगतोऽसि समन्तपञ्चकाक्यम् क्वचिदततपनोपरागकाले पुरिनिदधत्कृतवर्मकामसूनो यदुकुलमहिलावृतः सुतीर्थं समुपगतोऽसि समन्तपञ्च
क्वचिदथ तपनोपरागकाले पुरिनिदधत् कृतवर्मकामसूनो यदुकुलमहिलावृतः सुतीर्थं समुपगतोऽसि समन्तपञ्चकाख्यम् क्वचिदथ तपनोपरागकाले पुरिनिदधत् कृतवर्मकामसूनो यदुकुलमहिलावृतः सुतीर्थं समुपगतोऽसि समन्तपञ्चकाख्यम्.
Stanza 2. Bahutara janata hitaya tatra tomapi punan vinimajyatir tatoyam dvijaguna parimukta vittarashihi samamilatah kuru pandavadi mitraihi. a little bit from what I said before. Everybody had come. The Yadavas had come, the Pandavas had come, Kauravas had come, and then they all observe a fast before they perform all these religious activities. So they all observe a fast, and then they take dip in the holy waters, because that they're going to be staying there for like a long period of time. So they first take a dip in the waters, and then they all observe a fast. And you also, Krishna, took a dip, and by you taking a dip, you purified the water even more, and then you started interacting with all of the Kauravas, Pandavas, and everything. This is before the actual war and all happens. So they were all little animosity, but they were still okay. So they all met there. Bahutara Janata Hitaya Tatra, Twamapi Punan Vinimajya Tirtha Toyam Dvija Gana Parimukta Bittarashihi. So this is a Visargan, Sama Milataha. Put the ich sound. Sama Milatah Kuru Pandavadi Mitraihi. Bahutara Janata Hitaya Tatra Tomapi Punan Vinimajya Tirtatoyam Dvijagana Parimukta Vittarashihi Samamilatah Kuru Pandavadi Mitraihi.
बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः बहुतर जनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन् विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलताः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः
बहुतरजनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन्नि विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलथः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः बहुतरजनता हिताय तत्र त्वमपि पुनन्विनिमज्य तीर्थतोऽयं द्विजगणपरिमुक्तवित्तराशिः सममिलथः कुरु पाण्डवादिमित्रैः.
That's a 3. Tava khalu dayita janai sameta Drupada suta tvayi gadha bhakti bhara Tadudita bhavata hrite prakaraihi Atimumude samamanya bhamini bihi. So because everybody is meeting, so all of Krishna's wives had also come there. At least the 8, if you remember right, it was like 8 of them, and then there was 16,000, right? So I don't know how many of the 16,000 went, but the 8 of them went there though. And then at least there was one representation because the person is going to speak. So, like when we all meet in parties, we all say, hey, how did you all meet each other? We kind of ask inquisitively, right? Which is what Draupadi is asking. Draupadi is saying that I know that each of you had a unique way in how you got married. Right? She says even mine was a Swayamvaram, Draupadi also, where even hers was unique, right? Arjuna had to come here to shoot the arrow, and then she got married to 5 Pandavas. So she says mine was unique, but I know each of you have a unique story as well. So she asks, how did you all get married? And in Bhagavatam, each of them describe in detail again how, Rukmini talks about how, Krishna came and then he ran away with her. And then Satyabhama talked about the Samantaka jewel, right, which is her father Satrajit, and Krishna went there. And then Jambavati talked about how Krishna then fought with Jambavan and got it. And then Kalindi, Mitravinda, all of them talk about. And in the end, the Lakshmana, who's one of the wives, remember I told you Krishna had to shoot the arrow, which was harder. And in that, she tells Draupadi very specifically. She says that while in your case, Arjuna had to shoot it. He says, in my case, it was even harder because they had put some some constraints and all of that stuff, and he had to look at reflection. So even Arjuna missed it, but Krishna was able to shoot it, and then he got. And then, of course, one of the representation from the 16,000 women, they said we were all, held hostage by Narakasura, and Krishna came, rescued us, and he's given us shelter. So they all are just mingling with each other, right? That's the point there. And they all talk about how Krishna married to each of them. Tava khalu dayita janaihi. Put is dayita janais sameta, Drupada sutha refers to Draupadi. Drupada sutha tvayi gadha bhakti bhara tadudita bhavadahriti prakaraihi. So the ra that is there, put a visarga comma, prakaraihi. Next word starts with the a. Ati mumude samamanya bhaminibihi. तव खलु दयिता जनैः समेता द्रुपदसुता त्वयि गाढभक्तिभारा तदुदित भवदा हृते प्रकारैः अतिमुमुदे सममन्य भामिनीभिः.
तव खलु दयिता जनैः समेता द्रुपदसुता त्वयि गाढभक्तिभारा तदुदित भवता हृतिप्रकारैः अतिमुमुदे सममन्य भामिनीभिः तव खलु दयिता जनैः समेता द्रुपदसुता त्वयि गाढभक्तिभारा तदुदित भवता हृतिप्रकारैः अतिमुमुदे सममन्य भामिनीभिः.
तव खलु दयिता जनैः समेता द्रुपदसुता त्वयि गाढभक्तिभारा तदुदित भवदा हृतिप्रकारैः अतिमुमुदे सममन्यभामिनीभिः तव खलु दयिता जनैः समेता द्रुपदसुता त्वयि गाढभक्तिभारा तदुदित भवदा हृतिप्रकारैः अतिमुमुदे सममन्यभामिनीभिः.
That's a foot. Tadanu cha bhagavan niriksha gopan atikutukat upagamya manayitva chiratara viraha turanga rekhaha pashupavadhu sarasam tvamanvayasi. This chapter is full of just conversations. Nothing major happens. It's all just conversation. So next, Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj, they're all meeting after a long time, right? So, Vasudeva then remembers all the troubles that Kamsa had caused all of them, which had made him, because they were all together in Gokulam, and then he ended up leaving all of that. Anyway, so at that time, Rohini and Devaki, they all thank Yashoda, saying, that you took care of our children, Krishna and Balarama, as if they were your own children, because both the boys, but the moment they were born, they left. They didn't know who their mother was. They thought Yashoda was their mother, right? So Yashoda really took care of all of them as if Yashoda and Nandagopa, as if they were their own children. So they kind of thanked all of that. At the time is when Kunti is also coming and telling Vasudeva about all the challenges they're going. So essentially, they're all just the family is meeting, And this is Krishna and Balarama also go meet with Nandagopa and Yashoda. Like we said, Balarama kept visiting Vrindavan and Gokulam a couple of times, but Krishna never went, right? So this is the time they are all meeting and they all catch up. So Tadanucha Bhagavan Niriksha Gopan. So that na that is there, we're going to put a in there, Gopan, comma. Next word start with the E. Iti kutukad. So I'm breaking at the da. Iti kutukad upagamya manayitva. Chiratara Virahaturanga Rekhaha, comma, Pashupa Vadhuhu, put a is, Pashupa Vadhus Sarasam Twamanvayasihi. Tadanu cha Bhagavan Niriksha Gopan Atikutukat Upagamya Manayitva Chiratara Virahaturanga Rekhaha Pashupavadhu Sarasam Twamanvayasihi.
तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्य मानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुभवतु सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकादुपगम्य मानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधू सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः.
तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकाद् उपगम्य मानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातु तुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधुः सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः तदनु च भगवन्निरीक्ष्य गोपान् अतिकुतुकाद् उपगम्यमानयित्वा चिरतरविरहातुराङ्गरेखाः पशुपवधुः सरसं त्वमन्वयासीः.
Rajeshwari, ஒரு doubt. இந்த first line கோபான் இத்தின்னு வருமா கோபான் அத்தின்னு வருமா?
Oh, sorry, Gopan Ati. Sorry, I think I said E by mistake. It's a Gopan Ati Kutukat. My bad.
Thanks.
That's fine. Sapadi cha bhavadi kshanotsaven pramushitamanahritam nitam bhininam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi. So I'm going to say 5, 6, 7, 8 meaning in one shot because it's a conversation that's going to happen between Krishna and all the Gopikas. So when everybody is meeting everyone, like we said, right? So at that time, the Gopikas are just waiting there in a corner because they're waiting for an opportunity to talk to Krishna. So, and everybody kind of realizes that. Balaram also realizes that. So he moves away. So because now the Gopikas now come, right? And then they are in a high state of ecstasy because they're meeting Krishna. Remember in Dasakam 73, when Akrura came and took Krishna when he was 10 years old, right? That was the last time they all saw. Now this is somewhere in the period of the Mahabharata war where Krishna was pretty old at that time. So they haven't seen him for such a long time, right? So and they're all old also, right? Because they're all of different ages at this point. So the moment Krishna became very visible to them, so inside their hearts and through their eyes, they're embracing Krishna because they're very old. So even though they were all embracing Krishna mentally, they all felt that level of joy and bliss, right? That they have never experienced before. So at that point, Bhagavatam talked beautifully about how, so imagine like you're embracing somebody physically, you get a certain feeling, right? Out of love. Then you see them and then you're embracing them in your mind. It's a different feeling, right? It's a different perception. But here it says Krishna is able to give them that feeling of embracing in person in their minds. So even though they are just embracing Krishna in their minds, they can feel as if each one of them uniquely is embracing Krishna and is getting that unique touch of Krishna, and they're able to actually feel that. And with that, they get, very state of bliss because they're able to, feel Krishna again. So at that time, there's a conversation that happens between Krishna and the Gopikas very beautifully, where Krishna says, I know you all think I'm very ungrateful, because, I left you all and went. He says, but it's the Supreme Lord, who decides who gets to meet each other and then who doesn't get to meet each other. It's not in my control, right? Krishna says that. For which the Gopikas say, it's very, tricky that you are saying that, Krishna, because you are the Supreme Lord. So if you wish, you could have, had us meet more often, right? You are the one who's deciding who gets to meet and who doesn't get to meet. So how can you say that? So for that, Krishna replies back saying, if I am the Supreme Lord, then I am there everywhere, right? So I don't need to be in person with you physically standing next to you for you to be able to experience me. Right? You should be able to experience my presence anywhere and anytime, right? And then Krishna tells these Gopikas what their previous lives was. So he says that in your previous lives, you all were great Jnana yogis. You all understood the supreme truth. You knew the Jnana yoga in and out. You already had that. Right? He says, but for you to cross that barrier and to get final liberation, you got to develop that supreme love and devotion, which was slightly missing in all of you. So that's why you all decided to incarnate as gopis this time, to feel that supreme love and bhakti and love towards Bhagavan, towards Krishna, which you are experiencing this time. So with that, you already had all the knowledge, which you are not probably realizing in this birth. But then in this birth, you had to gain that knowledge, you had to gain that bhakti and devotion and love towards Bhagavan, which you are actually getting. And he says that even though Uddhava might have told you all of this before, it is very difficult to comprehend because in this birth, that knowledge is intentionally shielded away from you. Right? Because Bhagavan wanted them all to feel the devotion towards Krishna without remembering that knowledge of Jnana Yoga, which they already had. That's why even when Uddhava preached it to them, it all like bounced for them. because they were completely shielded off. Like without Jnana Yoga, you get pure Bhakti Yoga and devotion and love towards Krishna, which was the purpose of this birth for you. So with that, Krishna then gives them that knowledge of their previous births and what is actually happening here. So that is a conversation that goes for 5, 6, 7, and 8 stanzas here. Sapadicha Bhavadikshanotsavena, so comma, Pramushi Tamana Hridam Nitambininam Atirasa Parimukta Kanchulike, comma, Parichaya Hridyatare Kuche Nyalaishihi. Sapadi cha bhavadikshanotsavena pramushitamanahridam nitambininam atirasa parimukta kanchulike parichaya hridyatare kuche nyalaishihi.
सपदि च भवति क्षणोत्सवेन प्रमुषितमानहृदां निदम्बिनीनाम् अतिरसपरिमुक्तकञ्चुलिके परिचयहृत्यतरे कुचे न्यलैषीः सपदि च भवति क्षणोत्सवेन प्रमुषितमानहृदां निदम्बिनीनाम् अतिरसपरिमुक्तकञ्चुलिके परिचयहृत्यतरे कुचे न्यलैषी.
The last the cut at the nyalaishihi.
Yeah, न्यलैषीः.
सपदि च भवति क्षणोत्सवेन प्रमुषितमानहृदां नितम्बिनीनाम् अतिरसपरिमुक्तकञ्चुलिके परिचयहृद्यतरे कुचेन्यलैषीः सपदि च भवति क्षणोत्सवेन प्रमुषितमानहृदां नितम्बिनीनाम् अतिरसपरिमुक्तकञ्चुलिके परिचयहृद्यतरे कुचेन्यलैषीः.
Stanza 6. Ripujana kalahaihi, put a F, kalahaif, punaha, put a F, punaf, punarme, comma, samupagatair iyati. If you want to break it, you can break it, that re that, samupagatair iyati, or you can say it together, samupagatair iyati, vilambana bhoot, one word, iti krita pari rambane Twayi drak. So the ga that is there, we're going to break it. It becomes a ik. Ka. Drak, comma. Next word starts with a a. Ati vivasha khalu radhika nililye. So just a special mention of Radhika, of Radha, saying that in addition to talking to all the gopikas, saying that you also went and, embraced Radha, especially, just a special call out to Radha here. Ripujana kalahaif punaf punarme samupagatairiyati vilambana bhoot iti krita parirambhane tvayidrak ati vivasha khalu radhika nililye.
रिपुजन कलहैः पुनः पुनर्मे समुपगतैर्यति विलम्बनाभूत् इति कृतपरिरम्भणे त्वयि त्राक् अतिविवशा खलु राधिका निलिल्ये रिपुजन कलहैः पुनः पुनर्मे समुपगतैर्यति विलम्बनाभूत् इति कृतपरिरम्भणे त्वयि त्राकु अतिविवशा खलु राधिका निलिल्ये.
रिपुजनकलैः पुनः पुनर्मे समुपगतैर्यति विलम्बनाभूत् इति कृतपरिरम्भणे त्वयि द्राक्
Vivasha.
अतिविवशा खलु राधिका निलिल्ये.
The first night, second word, kalahaif.
Okay. रिपुजन कलहैः पुनः पुनर्मे समुपगतैर्यति विलम्बनाभूत् अतिकृतपरिरम्भणे त्वयिद्राक् अतिविवशा खलु राधिका निलिल्ये.
Stanza 7. Apagata biraha vyathas tada taha, comma, rahasi vidhaya dadata tattva bodham. Tattva bodham referring to the supreme knowledge. This is what the conversation is said. Krishna is reminding them and then telling them about all the information. Tattva bodham. Parama sukha Chidatmakoham. So this one is going to, the entire line is going to be together. Okay. So it's not going to be some very perfect way to say that. So Parama Sukha Chidatmakoham. You can break it that ma Chidatmakoham Atmet Yudayatu. So that word will have to come together. So from that Chidatmakoham, the next word will start with A. Atmet Yudayatu. Baha putta is was sputameva chetasiti. Short e. Apagata viraha vyathastadataha rahasi vidhaya dadata tattva bodham paramasuka chidatmakohamatme dyudayatu vasputameva chetasiti.
अपगत विरहव्यतास्तदाताः रहसि विधाय तदाथ तत्त्वबोधं परमसुखचितात्मकोऽहमात्मे तुदयतु वस्फुटमेव चेतसीति अपगत विरहव्यतास्तदाताः रहसि विधाय तदाथ तत्त्वबोधं परमसुखचितात्मकोऽहमात्मे द्युतयतु वस्फुटमेव चेतसीति
अपगतविरहव्यथास्तदाताः रहसि विधाय ददाथ तत्त्वबोधं परमसुखचिदात्मकोऽहमात्मे त्युदयतु वस्फुटमेव चेतसीति अपगतविरहव्यथास्तदाताः रहसि विधाय ददाथ तत्त्वबोधं परमसुखचिदात्मकोऽहमात्मेत्युदयतु वस्फुटमेव चेतसीति.
Stanza 8. Sukharasa parimishhrito viyogaha kimapi pura bhavaduddhavopadeshaihi samabhavadamutah parantu thasam paramasukaikyamahi bhavat vichinta. So when the Gopikas, when they hear about, when Krishna tells the previous things and all of that stuff, they do a beautiful stuti to Krishna because now they are really looking at Krishna as Bhagavan finally, right? And at that time, Krishna then tells something very important there, he tells the Gopikas that the greatest of my devotees, they are such that they so dedicate themselves to me that even if somebody comes and offers them liberation, they are going to say, no, we don't want it. Because all we want is that drida bhakti towards Bhagavan, that constant devotion and love towards Bhagavan. They don't even want liberation. Because if I get into liberation, then what if I don't get to worship Bhagavan? That's their fear, right? So they don't want anything else, right? He says that is how great you all are without you all realizing. That's why when Uddhava came and gave you that supreme knowledge, you rejected that knowledge because you did not find that knowledge useful or pleasurable to you all. Right? So you wanted Krishna, they wanted Krishna all the times. Even though Uddhava gave the greatest of Jnana Yoga, they said we are not interested because that doesn't excite us anymore, right? That is what he was kind of trying to say that, because you already have that, but you are shielded this time, but you are still rejecting it because the whole purpose of this birth was to feel that connection towards Bhagavan here. Sukha rasa pari mishrito biyogaha, kimapi Pura Bhavat. So that word will come together because of the S symbol. Pura Bhavat Uddhavopadeshaihi. That could be one word. Uddhavopadeshaihi. Samabhavad Amutaha. Put a F. Samabhavadamutaf param tu tasam, comma, parama sukaikyamayi bhavat vichinta. सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमही भवद्विचिन्ता.
सुकरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवतु तद्वोपदेशैः समभवतमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी भवद्विचिन्ता सुकरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवतु तद्वोपदेशैः समभवतमुतः परं तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी भवद्विचिन्ता.
In last line, second khana, Paramasukhaik,
Yeah,
second
second
one.
ka. Paramasukaikyamayi. Sukha,
Okay.
Aikyam, IE. Three words there.
Okay.
Aikyam is to merge. So.
सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवदमुतः परन्तु तासां परमसुखैक्यमयी विचिन्ता सुखरसपरिमिश्रितो वियोगः किमपि पुरा भवदुद्धवोपदेशैः समभवद समभवदमुपतः परन्तु तासां सुखैक्यमयी भवद्विचिन्ता.
Stanza 9. Munivara nivahaistavat petra durita shamaya shubhani prityamanaihi tvai sati kimidham shubhantarairiet yuruhasitairapi yajitastadhasau. So now all of them, right? Because I said they're going to stay there for a while. They were going to perform like a big, some auspicious rites and everything. So they were saying that in all of these things, Vasudeva is coming and saying that who do we start by, who do we consider the main person here who we worship and then kickstart this process, right? And at that time, Narada had to interrupt. Narada is also there at that time. So he had to interrupt because he says it is so unique that Vasudeva has his son as Krishna. And because of that, he's still shielded because he still thinks Krishna has his son. So having Krishna there, how can you even ask who should be worshipped? Right? So Narada goes and interrupts everybody and says there's absolutely no question who you should, worship, start by worshipping. It has to be Lord Krishna. And then they all, because he wants to avoid all these conversations going around who should be there. So anyway, with them, all of them then worship Krishna, and then they perform all the rites. And they are there for 3 months. They're going to be there. So they kickstart all the proceedings there. Munivara nivahais tavatha pitra, comma, Durita Shamaya Shubhani Prityamanaihi Tvai Sati Kimidham. So this next one also, the line is going to go continuously. So you got to put a plus in the middle. So the very way you can break it is Shubhantarair, that re that is there, right? So I'm just breaking at that ear. Shubhantarair Ityuru Hasitairapi. Okay, that'd be easy to say that. Shubhantarair ityuru hasitairapi yajitas tadasau. Munivara nivahaistavatha pitra durita shamaya shubhani prityamanaihi tvai sati kimidam shubhantarairityuru hasitairapi yajitas tadasau. Oh, Lita mute little. Lita, you're on mute. Padmaja garu. Going there.
With audio.
Yeah, audio is not clear.
Oh, my audio is not clear?
With audio.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, my audio
audio
or-
is not clear.
Interrupt.
Okay, let me.
Rajesh, you are.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
No, now it is good.
It's good, I because I wasn't sure. Because I can dial from the phone yesterday. That's what I ended up doing for the audio.
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's good now.
Lalita, I could not hear you. I don't know if you heard. Do you want me to repeat?
Oh, yeah. எனக்கு நீங்க இன்னும் சொல்லவே இல்லையேன்னு நான் வெயிட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். Did you say one?
Okay, I'll say it once. Yeah, I was wondering what happened. मुनिवरनिवहैस्तवाथ पेत्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छ्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैर्यद्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ
मुनिवरनिवहैस्तवाथ पित्रा दुरिदशमाय शुभानि पृच्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ मुनिवरनिवहैस्तवाथ पित्रा दुरिदशमाय शुभानि पृच्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ
मुनिवरनिहैस्
निवहैस्.
Thank you. मुनिवरनिवहैस्तवाथ पित्रा दुरितशमाय शुभानि पृच्छ्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरहसि तैरपि याजितस्तदासौ मुनिवरनिवहैस्तवाथ पित्रा समाय शुभानि पृच्छ्यमानैः त्वयि सति किमिदं त्वयि सति किमिदं शुभान्तरैरित्युरुहसितैरपि याजितस्तदासौ.
You said it correct only. I think you just say it a few times. You'll just know, that will come continuously. But you said it correct.
That is in a very last word. Tadasau. ஒரு S ஒன்னு இருக்காங்க.
அது வந்து அந்த ஆவோட join, it will just get merged with the tadasau. Okay, it will just merge with that. Tadasau. Sumahati yajane vitayamane pramuditamitra sahaiva gopaha yadujana mahitastrimasa matram bhavadanushangarasam pureva bhejuhu. So, like we said, whatever yajna or whatever sacrifice, whatever they were actually rites they were performing, that lasted for 3 months. So they were all there at a time for 3 months. So at the time, the Gopas, the Yadavas all mingled, and then they were all spending time in Krishna's company. That was pretty much this time. Nothing, like I said, this Dashakam is just what was happening with everybody meeting, and primarily Krishna closing it out with the Gopikas, right? That was the primary takeaway in this Dashakam. So Sumahati yajane vitayamane, प्रमुदित मित्र जने सहैव गोपाः यदु जन महिताः महितास, if you have is, then it's okay. Mahitas trimasa matram, bhavadanusanga rasam, one word, bhavadanusanga rasam pureva bhejuhu. Sumahati yajane vitayamane प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितास्त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुषङ्गरसं पुरेव भेजुः.
सुमहति यजने वितायमाने प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितास्त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुषङ्गरसं पुरेव भेजुः. सुमहति यजने वितायमाने प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितास्त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुषङ्गरसं पुरेव भेजुः.
सुमहतीयजने वितायमाने प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितासु त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुशङ्करसम्पुरेव भेजुः सुमहतीयजने वितायमाने प्रमुदितमित्रजने सहैव गोपाः यदुजनमहितास्त्रिमासमात्रं भवदनुशङ्करसम्पुरेव भेजुः.
Stanza 11. व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः. So the time of departure, now the time has come, 3 months, everybody ends up departing. So with that, Krishna, you were, again, special mention to Radha, saying that with this way, to all the Gopikas and Radhas who are still having the pangs of separation from you, you were able to eradicate all of them, and then they were in a state of happiness from that point onwards. With that, you all came back to Dwaraka. So Guru Arapa, please eradicate my ailments also. व्यपगम समये समेत्य राधां दृढम् उपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदित हृदयः पुट एफ हृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः. व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः.
व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः. व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः.
व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य परीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः. व्यपगमसमये समेत्य राधां दृढमुपगूह्य निरीक्ष्य वीतखेदां प्रमुदितहृदयः पुरं प्रयातः पवनपुरेश्वर पाहि मां गदेभ्यः.
Shri
ॐ
Krishna
श्रीकृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः.
Okay, we'll switch second half. Jyoti ji can be student, Minu you can be student. Okay, so 85 has got a lot of content. 84 was pretty light that way in terms of content. 85 is Jharasandha Shishupala Vadam, and also the trigger for the Mahabharata war. So all of that happens in this one Dashakam. Tansama. Tato Magada Bhubrata Chiraniroda Sankleshitam Shatashtaka Yuta Dvitayamisha Bhumi Bhritam Anata Sharanayate Kamapi Purusham Prahinote Ayachata Samagadakshapaname Vakim Bhuyasa. So you all remember that all the things that went on with Jarasandha long time back, where Jarasandha, I think it was Dashakam 77, where Jarasandha came, he attacked 17 times with 23 Akshauhinis. Every single time Krishna and Balarama, Krishna defeated and drove him away. And then they didn't kill him, they let him be there. And then the 18th time he got that Yavana from Greek and both of them came together. That's when Krishna moved to Dwaraka, right? That was the transition point there. And so this Jarasandha, who, like we said, Jarasandha is the father-in-law of Kamsa, right? So Jarasandha, Kamsa, Shishupala, Rukmi, they all are this group of people who just hate Krishna, right? So they're all one group. So after all of these things, the Jarasandha is still active, right? Trying to, he's continuing there. And what he had done is Shata Ashtaks. If you read that second line, it is Shata Ashtaka 108 Yuta Ayuta Dvitiyam. Ayuta is referring to 10,000 Dvitiyam. So 20,800 kings he had imprisoned. So Narakasura had imprisoned 16,000 women. Jarasandha had conquered and held in hostage 20,800 kings. And he was just tormenting them. So all of these kings, they all messaged Krishna and saying, Krishna, you are our only refuge. Just like how he saved the 16,000 women, he says, you are our only refuge. You have to now come and get rid of Jarasandha somehow. So that is the message that they are all sending Krishna here. Tato Magada Bhubrita Chira Nirodha Sankleshitam, Shatashtaka Yuta Dvitayamisha Bhumi Bhritam Anatha Sharanayate Kamapi Purusham Prahinot, So commas is at the end of every line. Ayachata sa magadha kshapanameva kim bhuyasa. Tato magada bhubrata chiranirodha sankleshitam shatashtaka yuta dvidayamisha bhumi bhritam anatha sharanayate kamapi purusham prahinot ayachata samagadha kshapanameva kim bhuyasa.
ततो मगधभूभृदा चिरनिरोधसङ्क्लेशितं शताष्टकयुतायुतद्दितयमीश भूमिभृताम् अनाथशरणाय ते कमपि पूरुषं प्राहिणोत अयाचत समागत क्षपणमेव किं भूयसा ततो मगधभूभृता चिरनिरोध संक्लेशितं शताष्टकयुतायुधद्वितयमीश भूमिभृताम् अनाथशरणाय ते कमपि पूरुषं प्राहिणोत अयाचत समागत क्षपणमेव किं भूयसा.
Rajesh, I have a quick question. The last word, I just have bhu bhrutam, and you mentioned bhu. So is it bhu mi, the small e, or bhu mi?
Bhumi, world, the earth, Bhumi Bhrita. Yeah, that's what I was following. I have that other book also, which I just got for my trip here, and that did not have the word Bhumi. That's why when I was reading from that, I just stumbled because I knew there was something else there. So it's Bhumi Bhritam there. So you got to make that correction.
Is it the Dirgami, right?
Yeah, long, yes.
Yeah.
ततो मगधभूभृता चिरनिरोधसङ्क्लेशितं शताष्टकयुधायुधद्वितयमीश भूमिभृताम् अनाथशरणाय ते कमपि पूरुषं प्राहिणोत अयाचत समागतक्षपणमेव किं भूयसा ततो मगधभूभृता चिरनिरोधसङ्क्लेशितं शताष्टकयुधायुधद्वितयमीश भूमिभृताम् अनाथशरणाय ते कमपि पूरुषं प्राहिणोत अयाचत समागतक्षपणमेव किं भूयसा.
Answer to Ihya surabhimagadham tadanu naradodiritat yudhishthiramakodhyamadubhaya paryakulah viruddha jainodhvarat ubhayasittiridhyuddhabeshasham sushi nijai samam puramiyeta yudhishtirim. So at the time, like the Pandavas had gotten some land, right? Indraprastha, which they were ruling. So Narada is coming and informing Krishna that Yudhishthira is going to perform a Rajasuya Yajna at that time. So and then he wants Krishna to come and help. So when Rajasuya Yajna, when you perform is, you make sure that everybody accepts you as a king. So if anybody doesn't accept you as a king, you have to wage a war battle with them, right? You have to make sure you have your territory, and then they have all these rules and whatever requirements are there for that. So this Jarasandhas, the people are sending this message. The kings have sent a message saying, Krishna, you have to come and rescue me. Another letter Krishna gets from Narada is, you have to go help Yudhishthira with the Rajasuya Yajna. So at that time, Uddhava, who is the minister for Krishna, says you can accomplish both in one way. You go to help Yudhishthira to Rajasuya Yajna. As part of that, you can have a battle with Jarasandha. You can find a reason to fight with Jarasandha and then eventually get rid. Krishna is not going to fight, but you're going to get the Pandavas to fight Jarasandha and then get rid of him. So with that, Krishna then decides to go to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira goes to Indraprastha at that time. Iya surabhimagadham tadanu narado diritat, Yudhishthira makodhyamat, I'm just breaking at the word du, makodhyamat, ubhayakarya paryakulaha, biruddha jainodvarat. So we're going to put a comma there. The du that is there, we're going to put a it and a comma. Jainodvarat, ubhaya siddhir ityuddhave shashamsushi, and then a comma. So the third line, Viruddha Jainodvarat, Ubhaya Siddhir Ityuddhave Shasamsushi, Nijai Samam Puramiyeta Yaudhishtirim. Yiya Surabhimagadham Tadanu Narado Diritate Yudhishthira Makodhyamad Ubhayakarya Paryakulaha Viruddha Jainodvarat Ubhaya Siddhirityuddhave Shasamsushi Nijai Samam Puramiyeta Yaudhishtirim.
Iyasuraphimagatham tadanu narado diritad Yudhishthiramakodhyamadutpayakarya paryakulaha Viruddha Jainodvarat Upayasiddhirityuddhave Shashamsushi Nijai Samam Puramiyetha Yaudhishtirim. Iyasuraphimagatham tadanu narado diritad Yudhishthiramakodhyamadutpayakarya paryakulaha Viruddha Jainodvarat Upayasiddhirityuddhave Shashamsushi Nijai Samam Puramiyetha Yaudhishtirim.
Iya surabhimagatam tatanu narado diridat Yudhishthiramagodhyamadhubayakarya paryakulaha Viruddha Jainodvarat Ubhayasiddhiridyuttave Shashamsushi Nijai Samam Puramiyeta Yaudhishtirim. Giya surabhimagadam tadanu narado diridat Yudhishthira mahodhyamadu ubayakarya paryakulaha Viruddha Jainodvarat Ubhayasiddhiridyuttave Shashamsushi Nijai Samam Puramiyeta Yaudhishtirim.
Answer 3. Asheshadayitayute Tvai samagate dharmajo Vijitya sahajairmahi bhavadapanga samvarditaihi Shriyam nirupaman vahan ahaha bhaktadhasayitam Bhavantamayi magate prahitavan sa bhimarjunam. So Krishna goes there to help Yudhishthira. So at that time, he goes there with everybody. So this Yudhishthira is very happy because he says, Krishna, you coming there, is the biggest thing, because Yudhishthira absolutely considers Krishna as the one. So like everybody we've seen, right, the difference between, the Pandavas and the Kauravas is only one thing. The Pandavas really appreciated Krishna and respected Krishna and made sure Krishna was there in every step of the way. Kauravas didn't do that. That's always the example I always give for the churning when we saw in Dasakam 28. The Asuras and the Daityas, they both do the exact same thing. They both help with bringing the Mandara mountain. They both are churning equally, everything. But the only difference is The Devas always considered Bhagavan on their side and worshipped him at every step of the way, which is what Yudhishthira is also doing and saying, you have to help Krishna complete this Rajasuya Yajna for me. So with that, Krishna also helps Yudhishthira and helps everybody there. So as part of that, what they do is they decide there's one person, Jarasandha, who is still very powerful. And so they have to figure a way how to defeat Jarasandha, how to get rid of him. So as to do it as part of the Rajasuya Yajnam, Krishna along with Bhima and Arjuna, three of them say, we are going to go take care of Jarasandha. Bhima is going to go fight Jarasandha. Arjuna is there for any protection that is needed. Krishna is just there for a strategy purpose. So with this, the three of them end up going to Jarasandha on behalf of Yudhishthira right now. अशेष दयितायुते त्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महीं भवदपांग संवर्धितैः श्रियं निरुपमां वहन् अहह भक्तदासायितं भवन्तम् अयि मागधे प्रहितवान् स भीमार्जुनम् अशेषदयितायुते त्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महीं भवदपाङ्गसंवर्धितैः श्रियं निरुपमां वहन् अहह भक्तदासायितं भवन्तमयि मागधे प्रहितवान् स भीमार्जुनम्
अशेषदयितायुधे त्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महीं भवदपाङ्गसंवर्धितैः श्रियं निरुपमां वहन्नहः भक्तदासायितं भवन्तमयि मागधे प्रहितवान् स भीमार्जुनम् अशेषदयितायुधे त्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महीं भवदपाङ्गसंवर्धितैः श्रियं निरुपमां वहन्नहः भक्तदासायितं भवन्तमयि मागधे प्रहितवान् स भीमार्जुनम्
अशेषदयितायुते द्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महीं भवदपाङ्गसंवर्धितैः श्रियं निरुपमां वहन्नहः भक्तदासायितं भवन्तमयि मागधे प्रहितवान् स भीमार्जुनम् अशेषदयितायुते द्वयि समागते धर्मजो विजित्य सहजैर्महीं भवदपाङ्गसंवर्धितैः श्रियं निरुपमां वहन्नहः भक्तदासायितं भवन्तमयि मागते प्रहितवान् स भीमार्जुनम्
गिरिव्रजपुरं गतास्तदनुधेव यूयं त्रयो यया च समरोत्सवं द्विजमिषेण तं मागधम् अपूर्णसुकृतं त्वमुं पवनजेन सङ्ग्रामयन् निरीक्ष्य सह जिष्णुना त्वमपि राजयुध्वा स्थितः. So they all go there and they all go disguised, right? So all these kings, they have a certain time where they go meet with others who come for charity. And at that time, anybody can go and ask anything and they get in charity. So Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna go as three Brahmanas disguised. And they go to Jarasandha. Jarasandha comes out, says what he wants. But the moment Jarasandha looks at them, he looks at the size of Bhima and Arjuna. He sees their arms and he sees the marks on their arm from the bowstrings and everything that Arjuna carries. He realizes these are not ordinary Brahmanas, but he says, what do you want? So at this, whatever you want, you ask, because it's a time you come asking for charity. I have to honor whatever you ask. So at that time, Krishna says that what we want in charity is we want a wrestling match between you and us, right? That's what we think it's actually fit. So Jarasandha says, okay, I know looking at you guys, you are not Brahmanas. So first, at least disclose. I'll give you the wrestling match, but disclose who you are. So Krishna says, I'm Krishna. This is Arjuna. This is Bhima. We have come here for a wrestling match. So Jarasandha tells Krishna, because this is what Krishna wants, So Jarasandha tells Krishna that, look, Krishna, you are a coward. The last time I came to fight with you, remember, Ranachod, you ran away from the battlefield. When Yavana came and you left, Madhura, and then you went and hid into a fortress in the middle of a sea, afraid from all of us. So I'm not going to battle with you, right? It's insulting for me to battle with you. I already won against you the last time, so I don't want to fight again. Then Arjuna is too young. The only person who's competent for me is Bhima. So Jarasandha says, I will take on Bhima. I'll give you this charity that we'll organize a fight between Jarasandha and Bhima to see what happens. So that's what. So he agrees to the fight there. Giri Brajapuram Gatas Tadanu Deva Yuyam Trayo, Yayacha Samarotsavam Dvijamishena Tam Magadham Apurna Sukrutam Twamum Pavanajena Sangramayanne, Nirikshya Saha Jishnuna Twamapi Raja Yudva Stitaha.
Rajeshi, my book says the third line, Apurna Sukrutam Twamamum. It's Twamum or Twamamum?
Twamum da irukku ennodilla. Twamum.
Twamum. Okay.
You have Twam Amum. It should be Tu Amum. Twamum. Twamum. So just change it to Twamum. And the Twamum comes from Tu plus Amum, and the two words are the Twamum. Giriv Vrajapuram Gatas Tadanu Deva Yuyam Trayo Yaya cha Samarotsavam Dvijamishena Tammagadham Apurna Sukrutam Twamum Pavanajena Sangramayenne Nirikshya Sahajishnuna Tomapi Raja Yudhva Stitaha.
My book says Twamamum.
Okay.
Twamamum.
Yeah, that's what Meenu was telling. Just change it to Twamum because nobody else has told me that before. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have Tomum. Yeah. Girivrajapuram Gadastadanu Devayuyam Trayo Yeya cha Samarolsavam Dvijamishena Tammagatham Apurna Sukrutam Twamum Pavanajena Sangramayanna Niricha Sahajishnuna Twamabhiraja Yudhva Sthidaha. Girivrajapuram Gadastadanu Devayuyam Trayo Yaya cha Samarolsavam Dvijamishena Tammagatham Apurna Sukrutam Twamum Pavanajena Sangramayanna Niricha Sahajishnuna Twamabhiraja Yudhva Sthidaha.
Girivrajapuram Gatastadanu Deva Yuyam Trayo Yaya cha Samarotsavam Dvijamishena Tammagatam Apurna Sukrutam Twamum Pavanajena Sangramayan Nirikshya Sahajishnuna Twamapi Raja Yudhva Stitaha. Yeah. Girivrajapuram Gadastadanu Deva Yuyam Trayo Yaya cha Samarotsavam Dvijamishena Tammagatam Apurna Sukrutam Twamum Pavanajena Sangramayan Nirikshya Sahajishnuna Twamapi Raja Yudhva Stitaha.
That's a fine. Ashanta Samarodhatam Vitapapatana Sanyaya Nipatya Jarasasutam Pavanajena Nishpatitam Vimuchya Nripatin Mudha Samanugrihya Bhaktim Param Dideshita Gataspruhan Apicha Dharma Guptyai Bhuvaha. So Krishna and Arjuna are like the onlookers. That's why the previous word line stanza it's Raja Yudhva, means people who make other kings fight, but they just are onlookers, right? So they wait as Bhima and Jarasandha, the battle is beginning. So they have this area set up where they both are battling, and then they first, swing their club. Both are equally competent, right? So no matter what each one tries doing, the other one is not tiring up. And then they start fighting with their raw hands. They start pummeling each other, and absolutely nothing happens. It seems like this is never going to end. No matter what Bhima tries, nothing is happening. He's not able to defeat Jarasandha. And same way, even Jarasandha is not able to do anything to Bhima. So the only person there who knew the secret about this was Krishna. So he knew about Jarasandha's birth. how he's Jarasas Sutam, Jaraha. So he was adopted, or he was given life by a demoness called Jara, because when he was born like a split, two children who were, born still or born split. So the father discarded just Jara, the twin, she joined them and gave life. And then when she gave it back to the king said, I don't want it. And so, then she ended up making, adopting them or whatever, and growing Jarasandha. So that's why it's called Jarasandha, the one who's done Sandhi, one who's joined by Jara. So Krishna knew the tactic of how to defeat Jarasandha. So that's where you all know the story. He takes a twig which is there and he rips it apart in the middle, right? And then so he tells it to Bhima, and Bhima does exactly that. So he puts his feet and then he tears apart Jarasandha from the feet, from the joints and the thighs, and at that point in the groin area, and that point Jarasandha is then gone. That's the only way to defeat him. So with that, Jarasandha is defeated. So that's what had to happen, because along with Jarasandha, a lot of them were defeated along the way. That was the reason originally where Krishna did not get rid of Jarasandha, because the moment Krishna goes into a battle and has to do that, then that person has to be blessed to be touched by Krishna. So he knew it has to happen through the hands of Bhima, which is where Jarasandha survived all these years. Anyway, so with that, all these 20,800 kings are freed. Now, just like what the women did, when Narakasura's women, 16,000 women, they all said, Krishna, you have to give us refuge. We just want to come with you. The kings also said the same thing, 20,800. We want to just come with you, Krishna. We don't want anything else. But Krishna said, that's not going to happen. But you are all great kings. So he established those kings because they will continue to rule with dharma. Dharma guptiya bhuvaha. So you continue to rule with proper dharma because you all are the right kings to do that. With that, Krishna then gave them their respective kingdoms because Jarasandha is gone anyways now. Ashanta samarodhatam vitapa patana sanyaya, nipatya jarasas sutam pavanajena nishpatitam vimuchya nripatin muda samanugrihya bhaktim param, dideshita gatasprihan, you can break at that na, gatasprihan apicha dharma guptyai bhuvaha. Ashanta samarodhatam vitapapatana sanyaya nipatya jarasasutam pavanajena nishpatitam vimuchya nripatin muda samanugrihya bhaktim param dideshita gatasprihan apicha dharma guptyai bhuvaha.
अशान्तसमरोद्धतं विडपपाडना संज्ञया निपात्य जरसस्सुतं पवनजेन निष्पाटितं विमुच्य नृपतीन्मुदा समनुगृह्य भक्तिं परां दिदेशितगदस्पृहानपि च धर्मगुप्त्यै भुवः अशान्तसमरोद्धतं विडपपाडना संज्ञया निपात्य जरसस्सुतं पवनजेन निष्पाटितं विमुच्य नृपतीन्मुदा समनुगृह्य भक्तिं परां दिदेशितगदस्पृहानपि च धर्मगुप्त्यै भुवः
अशान्तसमरोद्धतं विडपपाटना संज्ञया निपात्य जरसस्सुतं पवनजेन निष्पाटितं विमुच्य नृपतीन्मुदा समनुगृह्य भक्तिं परां दिदेशितगदस्पृहार्नपि च धर्मगुप्त्यै भुवः अशान्तसमरोद्धतं विडपपाटना संज्ञया निपात्य जरस्सुतं पवनजेन निष्पाटितं विमुच्य नृपतीन्मुदा समनुगृह्य भक्तिं परां दिदेशितगतस्पृहान् अपि च धर्मगुप्त्यै भुवः.
The second line, jarasas sutam on the word. Okay. Stanza 6.
Jarasas sutam. Okay.
Yeah. Stanza 6. Prachakrushi yudhishthire tadanurajasuyadvaram prasannabhritaki bhavat sakala rajakavyakulam त्वमप्यै जगत्पते द्विजपदावने जादिकं चकर्त Kimu katyate nrupavarasya bhagyonnatihi. So they come back. Yudhishthira is now ready to do the Rajasuya Yajna. All the kings, everybody is helping out, doing all the work allotted to them. They're all acting like as if they're servants of Yudhishthira, carrying out everything. So it says, you, Krishna, you also were doing that. What was Krishna's role? Was to wash the feet of the holy men and the brahmanas who are there. Because the Krishna has always said, Anu Bhakta Dasaha. So anyone who is the greatest of the devotees and the greatest one who's, and like I always say, the word Brahmana here means the one who's purely in control of their senses, right? Who's not attached to material things and purely in control of the senses. All those are the great Brahmanas. To all of them, Krishna, you are washing all their feet and taking care of them. So what a great bhagyonati, great fortune for Yudhishthira that you are there in the forefront carrying out all of this work for him. Rachak Krushi Yudhishthire Tadanu Rajasuyadvaram, Prasanna Bhritaki Bhavat Sakala Rajaka Vyakulam Tvamapyai Jagatpate Dvija Pada Vanejadikam Chakartha. So let me just look at this book here. Yeah, so that plus at the end of that line, Dvija Pada Vanejadikam Chakartha, then a comma, Kimu Katyate Nripa Varasya Bhagyonnatihi. प्रचकृषि युधिष्ठिरे तदनुराजसूयाद्वरं प्रसन्नभृतकी भवत् सकलराजकव्याकुलं त्वमप्यै जगत्पते द्विजपदावनेजादिकं चकर्त किमु कथ्यते नृपवरस्य भाग्योन्नतिः.
प्रचकृषियुधिष्ठिरे तदनुराजसूयाध्वरं प्रसन्नभृतकी भवत्सकलराजकव्याकुलं त्वमप्यै जगत्पदे द्विजपदावने जातिकं चकर्थ किमु कथ्यते नृपवरस्य भाग्योन्नतिः. प्रचकृषियुधिष्ठिरे तदनुराजसूयाध्वरं प्रसन्नभृतकी भवत्सकलराजकव्याकुलं त्वमप्यै जगत्पदे द्विजपदावने जातिकं चकर्थ किमु कथ्यते नृपवरस्य भाग्योन्नतिः.
प्रचकृषियुधिष्ठिरे तदनुराजसूयात्वरं प्रसन्नपृतकी भवत्सकलराजकव्याकुलं त्वमप्ययि जगत्पते द्विजपदावने जातिकं चकर्त किमुद्गत्यते नृपवरस्य भाग्योन्नतिः. प्रचकृषियुधिष्ठिरे तदनुराजसूयात्वरं प्रसन्नपृतकी भवत्सकलराजकव्याकुलं त्वमप्ययि जगत्पते द्विजपदावने जातिकं चकर्त किमु गत्यते नृपवरस्य भाग्योन्नतिः. भाग्योन्नतिः.
That's a seven. Tatas savana karmane pravaramagriya puja vidhim vicharya sahadeva vak anugatas sadharmatmajah vyadatta bhavate muda sadasi vishvabhutatmane tada sasuramanusham bhuvanameva triptim dhado. Second part of the story is starting here. So here, so Yudhishthira, so he's been like the previous one, like you saw, right? When they were at Samanta Panchaka. So they had to identify the main person. So similarly for Rajasuya Yajnam, when the time was starting for them to start performing the sacrifice, so they had to honor everybody, right? All the people who are assembled there. So the question came is, who do you honor first? So they have to pick the person who's the right person to be honored. So when that conversation started, like how Narada did the previous time, yes, Sahadeva is interrupting and saying, it's not even worth the conversation. Like Achyuta is there, Krishna is there. He is the supreme person. We all have to start with him as the primary person. So when he says that everybody there agrees, one person doesn't agree, but that person is going to talk in the next stanza. Everybody agrees to that. And then Yudhishthira is getting ready to then wash Krishna's feet and then, start that proceedings there with identifying Krishna as the first person to be honored and then everybody else to be honored. Yeah. Tataha put a is. Tatas savana karmani pravaramagriya puja vidhim, comma, vicharya sahadeva vak. I'm just breaking at that ga. You can put a ik and a a to join it. Vak anugatassa dharmatmajaha vyadhatta bhavate muda sadasi vishwa bhutatmane, comma, tada sasura manusham bhuvanameva triptim dadhau. So, comma at the end of every line. Tatas savana karmane pravaramagriya puja vidhim vicharya sahadeva vag anugatas sadharmatmajaha vyadhatta bhavate muda sadasi vishvabhutatmane tada sasuramanusham bhuvanameva triptim dadau.
I have a quick question. Is it the second line Vak Anugata or is it Vag Anugata?
Ik ka ke.
Okay,
Bak
thank you.
anugat. The ik and a becomes a ga.
ततः सवनकर्मणि प्रवरमग्र्यपूजाविधिं विचार्य सह देववाक् अनुगतः स धर्मात्मजः व्यथत्त भवदे मुदा सदसि विश्वभूतात्मने तदा ससुरमानुषं भुवनमेव तृप्तिं दधौ ततः सवनकर्मणि प्रवरमग्र्यपूजाविधिं विचार्य सह देववाक् अनुगतः स धर्मात्मजः व्यथत्त भवते मुदा सदसि विश्वभूतात्मने तदा ससुरमानुषं भुवनमेव तृप्तिं दधौ.
Rajesh, in the first line, the third word, pravara magriyava.
Tatas savana karmani pravaram agriya.
Makriya.
Pravaram, im and a. Pravaram agriya puja. Agriya is first.
Pravara makriya.
Agriya puja with him.
Okay, thank you. Tada savana karmani pravaramakriya puja vidim vicharya sahadeva vag anugadasa dharmatmajaha vyadatta bhavate muda sadasi vishwabhutatmane tada swasura manusham bhuvanameva truptim dadau tada savana karmani pravaramakriya puja vidim vicharya sahadeva vag anugadasa dharmatmajaha vyadatta bhavate muda sadasi vishwabhutatmane tada sasuramanusham bhuvanameva truptim dadau.
Answer 8. Tatas sapadi chedipo muni nirpeshu tishtat swaho sabha jayati ko jadah pashupadur durutam vatum ite tvaisa durvacho vitati mudvaham masanate uda patat uda yudha samapatan namum pandavaha. So everybody agrees Yudhishthira is washing Krishna's feet. And the whole Bhuvana, previous word, Bhuvanameva Triptim, the entire world, everybody is satisfied. There's one person who is not satisfied. He is the king of Chedi, Shishupala. So if you remember, during Rukmini Swayamvaram, we discussed that in 78, 79, that Shishupala, this Rukmi, and Jarasandha are all close buddies. And Shishupala was supposed to marry Rukmini. And that did not happen. Krishna came and took. Right. So at that time, the Shishupala, he is the one who's getting very aggravated. So he then starts a series of insults. So he's saying, who's a ko jhadaha, Pashupa jhadaha. He's saying this is a cowherd, the one who grazes cows. And then you suddenly feel like he has to be put on the very top in terms of honoring everybody. When we have so many exalted people here, we have so many kings, we have so many topmost of sages, everybody who's actually present here, who have strict adherence to vows and everything. And you are getting this person who is a cowherd, who, dances with all women. He goes on this long tirades of insults, right? Of everything which is there. And then he's run away. Like they say, you run away from your land and then you cannot cross the ocean. He's like, he's crossed the ocean. He's sitting in an island in the middle of the sea with all of these things. How can you go and honor this person? So he goes on a long tirade. So at that time, everybody, all the Pandavas, they all get very agitated to go fight with Shishupala, but Krishna is stopping them. And Krishna is not saying anything, and Shishupala is continuing his tirade of words here. So tatas sapadi chedipo muni nripeshu tishtat swaho, comma, sabha jayati ko jadaha, put a F, jadaf, pashupa durdurutam vatum, iti twaisa durvacho vitatim udvahan. If you want to break it, vitatim udvaman asanat. I'm just breaking at that in and a if you want. Vitatim udvaman asanat, comma. Udapatat udayudaha, put a is, udapatat udayudhas samapatannamum pandavaha. Just do one time. I'll try to see if I can finish one more stanza. ततः सपदि चेदिपो मुनिनृपेषु तिष्ठत्स्वहो सभा जयति को जडः पशुपदुर्दुरूटं वटुम् इति त्वयि स दुर्वचो विततिमुद्वमन्नासनात् उदापतत् उदायुधः समपतन्नमुं पाण्डवाः.
ततः सपदि चेदिपो मुनिनृपेषु तिष्ठत्स्वहो सभा जयति को जडः पशुपदुर्दुरूढं वडुम् इति त्वयि स दुर्वचो विततिमुद्वमन्नासनात् उदापतदुदायुधः समपतन्नमुं पाण्डवाः.
Oh, one time Nana,
Yes,
sorry.
one time.
ततः सपति चेदपो मुनीनृपेषु तिष्ठत्स्वहो सभा जयति गोजटः पशुपदुर्दुरूढं वटुम् इति त्वयि स दुर्वचो विदतिमुद्वमन् आसनात् उदापतत् उदायुतः समपदन्नमुं पाण्डवाः.
The first line, like chedipo on the word. Chedipo. Third word. Okay. All right.
Chedipo.
Yeah. So I think we won't have time for the full one. I'm just going to say the meaning because I want to close the story out on this. Nivarhya nijapakshaghan abhimukasya vidveshinah त्वमेव जगृषे शिरो धनुजदारिणा स्वारिणा जनुस्थितया लब्धया सततचिन्तया शुद्धधीः त्वया सपरमेकताम् अधृतयोगिनां दुर्लभाम्. Just a quick context of who this Shishupala is. So Shishupala, is his mother is a sister of Vasudeva and Kunti. So related to Krishna, Krishna's first cousin. So in Mahabharata, not in Narayaneeyam, Mahabharata, it states that when Shishupala was born, he was born with 3 eyes and 4 arms. He was a deformed child, right? So his parents didn't know what to do. They were going to discard the child. So they heard an Ashari Vaka saying that when the person who's going to kill the child in the future lifts the child and puts them in their lap, these things will disappear. So a lot of people come, nothing happens. Krishna is the first cousin. Krishna comes, lifts the child. Krishna itself is small at the time, lifts the child, all this happens. So this mother comes, no, Krishna is the one who's going to get rid of Shishupala. So she takes a vow from Krishna saying that you will not kill my child. So Krishna says, I cannot promise something completely open-ended, but you can put conditions. So she says, 100 times he will say he'll badmouth you in one flow. Like we do Sahasranamam, we say 1,000 names, right? So this is like, the 100 names. 100 times you badmouth Krishna. Then he says, at that point, you can do whatever you want. So he's been talking and doing bad things to Krishna all along, but never crossed 100. So this time he crossed 100 and then eventually his death happens. But the important thing is when the Sudarshana Chakram gets rid of Shishupala, everybody sees a light which is leaving Shishupala's body and merging into Krishna. Because if you remember Jaya, Vijaya from our Dasakam 11, they had to take 3 births. So one of them took as, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Shishupala, Dantavakra. Dantavakra is going to come later. But Shishupala. So that Jaya, whoever was there, has taken 3 births. So his 3 births is over, and all 3 births he was thinking about the Lord in a negative way, but he was thinking. It's more important to think in negative way than not to think at all. It's better to think even in negative way. That's what he was doing. So he was constantly talking about Krishna and bad-mouthing him. And eventually Shishupala gets liberated and then merges into Krishna in this. So with this will end this Dasakam today. Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Sandhanandhavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadebhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamanam aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurusharthatmakam brahmatattvam tattavadbhati sakshat gurupavanapure hanta bhagyam jananam kahena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanahi samarpayami.
Thank you. Hats off to
Thank
you for
you.
preaching
Happy
from
New
India.
Year.
Oh,
Happy
thank
holidays.
you.
Rajesh.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Happy New
Happy
Year,
New Year to
Rajesh.
everyone.
Happy New Year,
Thank you.
everyone. Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.